welcome to MandoBug Crafts, episode 35. Hi, I'm Amanda, also known as MandoBug, pretty much everywhere on the web. If you're a returning viewer, you already knew that. Thanks for coming back, and welcome new viewers. Thank you for coming on over and checking out my show. So, starting out with something I learned. This week, I learned a little bit about self-striping yarn. Yay! I finally did it! So, I built myself a funky, giant warping board of a weird... Okay, what I did I'm pretty sure is weird. I don't think you're supposed to do things the way that I did things, so don't be like me maybe. I don't know, whatever. If you want to, you can. I'll tell you what I did, but I don't think this is what most people do. So I was really trying to wrap my mind around how self-striping yarn is warped, and I just kept getting confused. So my favorite tutorial that I found was, and I hope I'm not mispronouncing the name, but was from unijang.com, and it was, I don't know, it was my favorite self-striping tutorial, and I'll go ahead and link to it in my show notes, which there's a link in the description of this YouTube video that will take you back to my blog, or you can just go straight to mandobugcrafts.blogspot.com, and it'll be linked there. But she explained how she did it, and essentially the idea behind it is that you just re-skein the skein into giant skein, like whee! Very, very long circles. And then you do the math to decide, okay, one row is, I think in hers one row was 32 inches. And so she did the math. If she wanted 6 stripes, then she did 32 times 6, and then measured that in the long loop and marked it off. And then she dyed that, her color. And she did that around the whole loop. So that made sense to me, so I did that. But in order to make the giant circle, I don't have a very big house. I made like a warping board out of PVC. Yeah, I don't think I've taken a picture yet, but I'll take one and insert it here. So I have that giant PVC warping board, if that's what you want to call it, and I just wrapped back and forth and up and around and then back and forth again. And when you take it off, you get like a giant circle, but don't take it off without tying it up, because it will get tangled. So I wrapped it around there a whole bunch of times, and then I measured for 4 stripes and then 2 stripes, and I just used some acrylic yarn because it won't dye. So I did, my first stripe, my 2 stripe, first stripe, my 2 stripe, around the whole thing. But I didn't measure how long the whole thing was, so it didn't come out evenly. My very last 4th stripe is only like, maybe going to be 3 stripes. I won't know until I start knitting it up. But, so I marked off where each of the colors should change, and then where the color changes were, I pulled them together and I tied them. And so like, when it was all tied, I had a circle. And then there was like loops dropping, which was nice because I could see the really long loops were my 4 stripes and the really short loops were my 2 stripes. But I had to tie the tie so tight that it wouldn't like slip around and get tangled, because I was really afraid it was going to tangle. That when I dyed the yarn, I had some white spots, of course. So I went back and I moved the knots and I tried to re-dye over the spots I missed, but I didn't catch them all. But, so enough of me explaining the craziness. Here's my skein. So, I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. It should be 2 stripes of black and then 4 stripes of a color that you see in here. I think there's like a red, a blue, a yellow, a green, and kind of a purpley pinky color. I don't know. I'm not good at describing colors. But, it looks pretty good in the skein, right? Well, well. There are 2 knots in the skein because when I wrapped it back on the warping board to let it dry and then to wind it off on my nitty knotty, when I cut all the little acrylic scraps, I accidentally cut some of the yarn too. So I had to tie it back together, so whoops. And then, so I think I cut it in 2 places, and then in like 2 other places I didn't cut the yarn completely in half, but I had snipped one of the plies. So it's my first try and I'm learning, and for all I know I could start knitting this and it not even turn out self-striping. So I just figured I'd share my adventure with you guys. So this is all in an attempt to have some self-striping sock yarn to knit the Mystic Spiral Socks by Josh Ricks. Yeah, I've been saying his name wrong. Whoops. I don't know. I try not to say names if I think I'm gonna butcher them, and I guess I was overconfident in that one because I was completely wrong. But yeah, Josh Ricks. You don't need self-striping yarn to knit these socks, but I think they look really cool in self-striping, so that's what I want. So I'm happy. I have to fix my Swift that I showed you guys broke last week so that I can cake this up and cast on. I'll probably do that today. And then when I was dyeing that yarn, I was over at Lindsay's house, of course, Lindsay of the Knitwim Diaries podcast, and she was dyeing a bunch of fiber, and if I couldn't get my bath to completely exhaust, like it would be mostly exhausted, but you'd see like a tint of color behind, I still have domestic wool scraps at her house, so I just dipped some in. So I have like this like really lightly colored fiber that I dyed. So some of it's kind of like light gray blue, some of it's like, well, this is mostly all kind of showing up gray, but I have like this color, like a light green and a light pink and some legit gray. And then I also ended up with a leftover black when I was trying to go over the spots that I missed on my self-striping, and so now I have black fiber too. So I have a whole bunch of like pale dark colors. Is that a thing? Pale dark colors? I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. I don't know if I'm just going to spin them into striped yarn or if I'm going to blend them into striped Rolags, or I have no idea. It was just for fun. I don't like spinning plain white wool. It's not fun to me. I like color. So it was nice to dye some of that up, even though I have plenty of wool to spin. But so that takes me into my works in progress. So I haven't really been working on a lot. I know I keep showing my Albert socks, and I didn't work on them at all this week. I did do some more fleece processing. So I have like almost an ounce here in my dirty bag. I'm going to wash it, but I'll probably wait till I can fit about another ounce in there before I do that. So soft, so nice. Blossom's fleece. I'm still under halfway. I'm still not halfway through her fleece, and I just got the other two BFL fleeces in the mail this week. I haven't even opened them because I'm not even ready for them yet. But it's nice that they're all here and waiting for me. So. And then I also picked up my Philia socks by Michaela Orth. I haven't worked on these in a while, so I finished one a while ago. It's got this nice cable-y pattern, and it goes down the toe. Oh, it's nice. It's got a little, I don't know, it's like a slip stitch heel. It's supposed to be reinforced. I don't know, it's nice, it fits. I kind of messed up the toe on this one, and I'll do the same on the next one so they match and fit equally. But, so I finished all my repeats down the leg, and I've started on my heel flap. So, I was hoping I wasn't going to get second sock syndrome with these, but I'm pretty sure I finished this one plenty of months ago. So I definitely did, and I just need to knock them out. And then, oh no, that's all my works in progress. See? Not much going on. So moving on to finished objects. So I showed you guys last week that I had finished spinning the first 3.5 ounces that I processed and dyed of Blossom's fleece. So, and I was knitting it into the Chelsea Market hat by Carol Pierre, and it's done. Here, let me put it on. Definitely not the season for wearing hats right now, but whatever. So it's got this cable right up the side, and the rest of it is like a garter and some stuff. So I don't know, I like it a lot. It's really comfy. It's just tight enough to like fit, but not squeeze. It's got a little bit of extra in the back. Super warm, super soft. I like the way the colors ended up knitting up. So it's variegated, but not in a way that's super pooly. Oops. Well, the way that I spun the yarn, oh, here's the cable. The way that I spun the yarn, the first rolags are what are at the end here. I used them last because they turned out really, really thick. I don't know if you can tell through just like looking at it on the camera, but it's really, really thick yarn. Aran, almost bulky. And the other rolags I spun turned out pretty worsted, if not Aran. So, I think I got like 160 yards for my 3.5 ounces, and this was what was left over. I was so afraid that I was gonna run out, but I didn't. So this is going to my mother-in-law. It was supposed to be Mother's Day gift, and as you can tell, I'm late with it, but that's okay. So I can go ahead and share that the sheep cross stitch that I've been working on is also a Mother's Day gift that I just didn't want to say because I wanted it to be a surprise, but I didn't finish it on time. But I'll be sending her that with this hat. I think I already have that boxed up, so I can't show it to you guys. But I have it in previous episodes, and I can maybe put a picture on my link show notes. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. And then I also finished another Mother's Day gift. So, I mean, Mother's Day was Sunday, and it's definitely Tuesday today. So, I'm super late. I tried to keep it off the podcast because I know my mother-in-laws watch the podcast. And I like to keep surprises, but when I'm late, like, it doesn't matter if it's a surprise anymore. So, I was knitting Josh's mom these washcloths. I've got 4, and I have a skein. Another skein. I'm gonna make 2 more. This is sugared and cream, stripy cotton. It's really good cotton for the kitchen because it is very durable and it's scratchy, but that's perfect for scrubbing. I knit myself a bunch of these a couple months ago, maybe a year ago, I'm not sure, but I absolutely love them. Cotton has a tendency to stretch when it's wet and like way down and pulls the stitches out. So when I knit mine, they were on too loose of a gauge. So I made sure when I knit hers, they're on US 6s, and it's a pretty nice and tight gauge. So that when it gets wet and the water weighs it down, it's still not holey. So I love the colors. It reminds me of like a beach, for some reason, like a beachy colorway. But I think her favorite color is blue. That's what Josh said. I believe him. So I'm hoping she'll like those, even though they're late. So moving on to Check It Out. So for Check It Out this week, brought to you by Lindsay. So I've been telling her that after seeing on her podcast that she spun this beautiful cotton yarn, I got super jealous. And I was like, I want to spin cotton yarn. And I told her I'd been thinking about buying a supported spindle and some cotton from Hip Strings. Hip Strings is where she got her supported cotton, or supported spindle and cotton. And I really like her spindle, and the cotton seems really nice, and it's very reasonably priced. So I didn't actually buy any. She went ahead and let me borrow her, because she's got a whole bunch of other spindles full of goodness. So she's like, here, I'm not spinning on it, here's some cotton, here's the spindle, go for it. And so this is her spindle from Hip Strings. It's really, really, really pretty. And it spins beautifully. So it's a supported spindle, and she let me borrow this little cup. And you just keep it in the cup, and you flick it in your hand, and you long draw in your other hand. And so, I mean, you can tell on the cotton, I'm not doing very good, but I'm not doing too bad. I'm working on trying to get a little thinner, because her cotton was like a 2-ply cobweb. I swear, it was ridiculous. I don't remember how many yards she got. She did the Pack It On challenge and the spindle candy thread, I think. And she got like some ridiculous yardage that I was just like, what? But it's beautiful, and I think hers was in like a natural brown colorway. She gave me this gray to play with, and there's a good amount of it. And then there's also this tan ounce. I don't know if I'm going to touch it. If I do, I'll probably buy her another ounce to replace it. I think Hipstring sells them for like $3 to $4 an ounce, which, like I said, is pretty reasonable. And I think she's been dyeing colors as well. I think when I checked earlier, she had some red and some blue cotton up there. I think that costs a little bit more though, but it makes sense. I'm pretty sure these are natural colors. But it's, like, I cannot describe to you guys how soft this is. This is ridiculously soft. Like, I know it's cotton, but it feels like I'm petting like the softest little bunny. But I'm hooked, and as soon as there's spindles up in her store again, I'm sure I'm going to get one. There's not any since I've checked earlier today, but I've seen them up there, and they're normally like this. I don't know what you would call this. It's like kind of like metally, and this looks like etched fiberglass maybe? I'm not sure. Don't quote me, but I absolutely love it, and it spins like a dream, and the spinning the cotton is fun, and it's a really good way to practice long draw because you have to long draw. Cotton is really fun to spin, and by fun I mean very interesting and not at all easy, because it is so short. Like, I don't know if you can see, but like, it is so short. Like, you're just like inching yourself along. So like, you have to be very, very careful when you're spinning it because it's very easy to just break. So that's my check it out this week. Moving on to Kern Events. So I still got the April and May finished objects thread going on in the group. Go check it out for details. There will be fun prizes. I know for the yarn category I will offer one of my hand-dyed yarns, win or choose. I'll probably put pictures up of those and share them when it gets closer to drawing time. Fiber. I don't know if I'm going to dye fiber or make Rolags yet. I still got some time to figure that out. Fabric. You will most likely get fabric. I just haven't picked out the kind yet. So that's that. Moving on to upcoming events. So I talked with Lindsay this weekend when we hung out and did some dyeing about the spin-along. So we didn't really come to too many agreements. We know that we're both going to be doing a spin-along at the same time, whether it's the same spin-along or our own spin-along. It's really not that important. The gist of it is I will be doing a spin-along. She will be doing a spin-along that runs basically at the same time, and you can definitely double dip. So I've decided to call my spin-along the Mindful Spin-along, and I think she has a different name for hers, but it's pretty much the same purpose, I think. So the Mindful Spin-along. The purpose of this is to pick out your fiber and know what you're going to spin it into with a pattern in mind before you spin it. So it'll be like most of my knit-alongs, craft-alongs, whatever. You get one entry per person, and for this one you have to be a member of the group, and this one, the only thing that I want to be additional is that before you start spinning your fiber, just post what you plan to do with it. So here's my fiber. I want to spin it into this weight of yarn because I want to knit it into this pattern. And so, mindful, right? I know I'm really bad at just, I like fingering weight yarn, I'm going to spin this fingering weight. And so I have all this yarn piled up, and I don't know what to make with it. So this is one of those things to help you make sure you use the beautiful yarn that you've spun up. So I think I'm going to start a thread this week about just like for chatter and plans. So you can start thinking and posting about what you're going to do. The spin along will run from January 1st until July 31st. So you get 2 months. I'm hoping that's enough time for you spindle spinners. I know that it takes quite a bit longer on the spindles. I mean, unless you're super fast and pro at it, I know for me it took me almost 3 times as long to spin on a spindle as it does on a wheel. So I mean, if it's not enough time, we could probably push the deadline out. But I feel like 2 months is a good amount of time, especially if you want to spin more than just like 4 ounces. If you want to spin 8 or more because you have a bigger project in mind, it's probably not long enough to spin a sweater's worth. But if you wanted to spin like maybe 8 ounces to do like a longer shawl, or I don't know. There's the ideas out there are pretty much endless. So yeah, spin along, mindful spin along, yay! But yeah, that's all I got for you guys this week. So I hope you guys had a good Mother's Day, and I hope you had a great crafting week, and I hope you made something awesome while you were listening to me talk.